Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Butterfly Spirit 314. So today guys, it's Sunday, and I decided that what I would do is I'd talk to you guys about happiness and what it takes for you to be happy. I was thinking about doing this video for a while, and I think it's a good idea to do it right now and just talk to you guys about what it takes for you to be happy, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by washing my hands here, because I need to wash my hands, and then I'll kind of go into what it takes to be happy. And I will tell you guys, I am by no means going to say that I've figured out this whole happiness thing. I've just begun the journey of working on becoming happy. And in doing that, what I can tell you guys is that being happy isn't easy. You know, it's not as simple as having a smile on your face. Alright? It actually takes work for you to become happy. And I know for some people they're not gonna want to do that, you know. And, you know, happiness is something I think that you build over time. It's something that you develop day by day, you know. And then eventually, throughout the day, you can find yourself being happy. I'm not saying that, you know, that you're just going to walk around and be happiness and nothing's going to affect you, because there are situations, people, and things that are going to upset you and ruin your day and piss you off and all types of things. But the important thing is to focus on being happy, because that's really at the core of what all of us really want to be, is happy, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about an experience that that I had, okay? And I'm going to talk to you guys about like some struggles I've kind of had towards happiness. So one of the things is that being happy means that you're going to have to say no to people. And what do I mean by that? Well, on a couple of occasions, I've had family members of mine who wanted me to do things that I didn't want to do. So, you know, they wanted me to drop what I was doing, you know, and just do what they wanted me to do. They didn't care about, you know, responsibilities that I have in my life, you know. So, you know, for example, you know, I had family members who expected me to help with cleaning out their house, okay? And basically, or cleaning out a family member's house, basically. And, you know, my family members, they asked me, you know, the day before they were going to be cleaning out another family member's house, they said, oh, you're going to show up and you're going to, you know, you're going to be there tomorrow, right? And I was like, well, what are you talking about? This is the first time you're even bringing this to me. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, right there, right, you know, they put an obligation on me, okay? You know, never mind what I had going on. And then when I said no, right, then that's when I got pushback from family, okay? And even though I got pushback, I still stood my ground, and I said, hey, this is the first time you're bringing this to me. You didn't ask me. The way I do things is that I plan things that I do. So if you want me to do something and you want me to be a part of it, then you should have let me know a week in advance and stuff like that, so I could have moved things around so I would be able to help you guys out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. And this is where I got a bunch of, you know, criticisms and stuff and things like that. And a lot of the criticisms had nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? And so in that situation, guys, I want to say this. To be happy, you're going to have to say no. And this means you're going to have to say no to, and it could be hard to say no to your family members. It can be so hard because your family may have this expectation on you where they expect you to do things when they want you to do it. Never mind what you got going on. Never mind if you got to pay bills. Never mind if you got to go to work. Never mind if you just trying to have some chill time because you worked your ass off at work, during the week or whatever. Never mind if you have, an event you're going to be attending. Never mind if you just trying to, you just trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do, or surround yourself, with more positive things, In being happy, you're going to have to learn how to say no. And I know it's tough with family. I know it is. Because I find, even though I learned to say no on a couple of occasions, I still have that feeling of, wanting to please family members. And it is hard because you're afraid that what if I say no to my family members, and then what if they're mad at me or whatever, right? What if they're mad? Well, you got to think about the fact of you being happy. You know what I'm saying? In that moment where I said no, I wasn't saying no, I wasn't going to help with any future things, right? As far as family was concerned, I said no to that interaction because it conflicted with whatever it is that I was going to be doing that next day, And when it comes to me taking care of household things, such as, bills, rent, maintenance, or whatever, those things are going to come first, because at my household, I have to make sure that I keep things running, you know what I'm saying? And so, I put off a lot of, for family, I put off a lot of things for family because I was like, well, let me do this, let me do that, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel obligated, to do things, to help out with family, and I do feel obligated. You know what I mean? And so as far as I'm concerned, my happiness matters, and me achieving things that I want to accomplish and do is important. And if my family says to me, no, we don't want you to do what you want to do, we want you to do what we want you to do, well, that's not going to work. Just because, I happen to, just because I happen to be younger to my family members does not mean that they're going to tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? And how does that relate to being happy? Here's how it relates. Well, if you know that there's things that you want to do, things where, you want to accomplish things. Let's say you planned out your day, you have things you want to do, and your family comes along and says, well, we want you to do this. And then, you decide that you go along with your family, then you push off the things that you have to do. What if you got to pay your electric bill, your gas bill, your rent, your water, your sewer bill, your trash bill? What if you got a job interview, you know what I'm saying, that you got to go to, but yet you push that off and you know what I'm saying, do what your family wants you to do. No harm to being around your family and doing what you want to do. I have no harm to be around my family. I'm cool with being around people provided they are positive and they are supportive and they're willing to listen to what it is that I have to say. In that situation with my family member where they gave me pushback about saying no, I think the first thing was, as my family member was surprised I said no. That was first thing. And they were surprised that I stood my ground and I wasn't going to accept the things that I've accepted in the past. I wasn't willing to accept the criticism and the bullying and all that. I wasn't willing to accept that. And I was willing to put a stop to that. Because if you're getting, we love family. We all love our families. Some of us more than others. But when it comes to our happiness, we have to do what it is that we feel that we need to do to be happy. And sometimes that means we're going to have to tell our family, hey, hey, I love to do this, guys, but, what I'm saying, I got this or that to do. You know what I'm saying? If you feel comfortable telling your family, whatever it is you got to do, right? And I know it's tough with family because you want to get that approval. You want to get that validation. You may feel like, your family's always going to be there for you and stuff like that. And you want to keep that good relationship. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you want to do. But the thing is if your family is not willing to, if they're not willing to value the fact that you have things you have to do, and they're not willing to understand things that are important to you, then they're not supporting you. They're not showing up and believing in you. You know what I'm saying? If you're giving time and effort and doing this and doing that, you know what I'm saying, to support them, but then when you tell them, hey, no, I can't do that because I got a job interview, or, you know what I'm saying, I got to go pay bills or whatever, and they can't tolerate that, then that's a sign that they're not a part of making you happy. And sometimes the hardest thing for us to do is to realize that our families have, sometimes it's hard to admit that our families are the problem. And some people are going to disagree with me on this, and they're going to say, no, this and other. But I'll tell you, saying no to my family members on a couple of occasions allowed me to be able to do the things that I wanted to do in my heart, that I knew that I wanted to do. You know, and it was kind of a war at myself, because I was like, yeah, I want to help out family. I want to be there to show up and support them. I want to do this and help out, and them, you know what I'm saying, them to value me and stuff like that. And that's what I wanted, right? And on many occasions, I've done things day in and day out to be supportive. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how I felt. Regardless of how tired I felt. Regardless of if I didn't have any money or whatever. And yes, I've been done wrong by family. I have been. And the real thing about it is that I've discovered that I got to focus on my happiness. Because I discovered that me being happy means that I have to focus on myself. And it means that you guys are going to have to focus on yourselves. All right? You're going to have to focus on the things that you value. You're going to have to focus on the things that really make you feel good. Because there's going to be things and situations and stuff and circumstances in your life, or people in your life, that your family may not be willing to tolerate. Because they see that person, thing, situation, or whatever makes you happy. And they can't stand that shit. They can't stand it because they're not happy and they don't want you to be happy. So they want to jump in and stop what you're doing. But see, here's the problem with that. If you're on a road to achieving a goal, okay, right, and you're doing everything that you can to try to support your family members, right? And you're always there for them. And then at one time that you tell them, hey, I got something real important to do. I got to do this. And they say no. And then let's say you go and help them anyway, and you miss out on getting a good job, or you miss out on being able to buy a car, or, get, maybe there's a game that you want to buy, or maybe furniture or whatever. Maybe there's something that you really want to buy, you want to buy, and you put it off, and then by the time you try to go get that thing after helping family, you can't get that thing because you sacrificed what you wanted to do for your family. And if you really want to be happy, the truth is you got to be selfish. You got to be selfish, because here's why you have to be selfish. And I mean, when I say selfish, I mean you have to think about your happiness. You have to think about the things that really make you happy on the inside. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times for a lot of us, we are standing in the way of our own happiness a lot of times. A lot of times we are standing in the way of our own happiness. Why are we standing in the way? Because sometimes we may feel uncomfortable with feeling happy. You might say, why would you say that? Well, because sometimes we put off things that we've always wanted to do. Something we've always wanted to start doing. Maybe, we've always wanted to travel. Maybe we've always wanted to join a sport. Maybe we've always wanted to start a hobby. Maybe we've always wanted to start a business. Maybe we've always wanted to get a pet or whatever. It could be anything we've always wanted to do. Something that makes us light up and feel happy, and we know we want to do this thing, and we've always wanted to do it. And a lot of times we'll make excuses for why it is that we're not doing something. Something we know will make us happy, but we're standing in the way. And I found for myself, I was standing in the way of something I wanted to do. And I was putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because I was like, well, I can get to that at some other point. Making excuses about, something I knew I wanted to do, something I knew would make me happy, and I was putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But I realized that I was standing in the way of being happy. And sometimes it can be intimidating to do something new that we know will make us happy, because we might be afraid that somebody's going to come along and mess it up or ruin it. Because maybe we've grown up with that. Maybe every time we've, as a child, which this has happened to me on several occasions growing up, that there would be times I'd be so happy about something, I'd want to share it with people, and I'd get criticism. I would be told, that's stupid, that doesn't make any sense, that, we don't feel that's what we want you to do. You know what I'm saying? I got criticism and pushback, and it did happen for family. And yeah, I can say it now because, I realized that that's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it happens to all of us. You know what I'm saying? It happens to all of us where there's something we really value and we really enjoy. You know what I'm saying? And then there's people who will come along and try to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? There's something we may be, I'll give an example. Let's say if you're saving up to get something you've always wanted to buy, right? And you're saving the money and stuff, and let's say it was a struggle to do that, and you saved up the money, and then you tell family, okay, hey, or family or friends or coworkers or whoever, you say, oh great, I finally saved up enough money to get this thing, I'm real excited, and then they saying to you, oh, that's stupid, that don't make no sense, we think you should be doing this with the money, or we think you should be doing that, you need to be doing what we think you need to do, right? So here's what I'm saying, right? When you get that negative energy from whatever source, it can come from anywhere, right? It could be anything. It ain't even got to be family. It could be from coworkers. It could be from friends. It could be from strangers you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Who just, or trying to, they want to do what you're trying to do, but they're intimidated because you're getting a chance to do something before them, right? The thing is that if you are putting your energy into doing something you want to do, something that makes you happy, right? The way to be happy starts with loving and valuing yourself. And you love and value yourself. You do this through trial and error, right? And something I did, this was a while ago, is I made a list of some things that make me happy. Things and goals and stuff that I want to work towards that will make me happy. And these are personal goals. And, when I think about those things, and how happy they make me, I made a list. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. If there's things that make you happy, that make you feel good inside, that make you brighten up, that make you smile and things like that, make a list of things that make you happy. And, if there's a goal that relates to that thing that makes you happy, then you can get on the path to working towards whatever that goal is. And what you may notice is that the more you start working towards a goal, towards something that makes you happy, you may start to discover that you start to manifest that thing. You start to bring something into your life that you never thought was possible. You may bring in opportunities or other types of stuff in your life that you never thought possible, and you start doing the impossible, So when it comes to happiness, happiness is not just having a smile on your face, right? Being happy it takes work. It takes effort. It's not easy. It's not. Sometimes with happiness, sometimes we have people in our lives who are intimidated or jealous about people we choose to have around us because they want us to have who they want around us. Not for us to decide who we want to have around us. You know what I'm saying? And that sucks. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to your life. But the thing is life is short. And how is life short? Life is short because none of us is guaranteed to live to a certain age. None of us is. And so if we're not guaranteed to live to a certain age, then, you have to start to think about what makes you happy, because you have to think about this. If your time was up tomorrow, meaning you were going to pass away tomorrow, would you be happy with your circumstances? Would you be happy with the choices that you've made? Would you be happy at the fact that you didn't get a chance to do this one thing you've always wanted to do? You know, would you be happy? You know, and I'm not saying that anybody's going to pass away tomorrow. I hope not, right? You know, but life is a strange thing. You know, some people say life is an animal, which I don't really know what they mean by that. But what I can say is that when it comes to happiness, we have to start thinking about what makes us happy. And, you know, like I said, it's not going to be like you're going to be walking around happy all the time and nothing's going to get to you and everything. No. Being happy is about making yourself feel good, right? And you will be able to glow from the inside out, you know, and you'll be able to make yourself happy, right? You can start to do things like have self-love because you can appreciate yourself. Because self-love, right? The self-love comes from the inside and it radiates out. You know what I'm saying? And it radiates out into things we start doing. Things like we start, let's say, taking care of ourselves, right? Let's say we start getting our body in shape. You know, let's say we start, you know, going for walks and running or working out at the gym, you know what I'm saying, to take care of our body. And that comes from the fact that we realize that, hey, you know, I want to keep my body strong. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep it healthy. You know, there's so many people turning their bodies down and stuff, you know, using, you know what I'm saying, things that, you know, toxic things to their body that's not going to help. Because a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, I could just, you know, have this, you know, drink this beer or, you know, have this illegal substance or whatever, and I can do this or whatever. And trust me, what a lot of people are not thinking about is that they're going to need their body. You're going to need your body. Because if for some reason you got sick, your body needs to be able to fight in order to be able to keep you healthy and help you to heal. If your body is already torn down because of what you put into it and, you know, substances and all types of stuff, your body is not going to be able to fight it all. It's not going to be able to. You know, it's not. Because, you know, the reason it's not going to be able to fight is because if you tear your body down, you know what I'm saying? Some people will smoke cigarettes. Some people will drink beer. Some people, you know, maybe they might be drink wine too much. Some people may do drugs, whatever. You know, some people may be, you know, doing stuff that's way out there that's way too bad for their body, right? And there's a lot of people who think that that's okay because they think, oh, it's fun, I can do this or whatever. But the problem is that you never know when you're going to need your body. Okay? My partner and I, we got into an accident last year. And one of the great things about our bodies is that our bodies were healthy enough where they were able to take the impact, right? It doesn't mean we're not injured, right? It doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is that it means that our bodies are at least functional. We're still able to walk around. We're still able to talk. We're still able to do a lot of things. There are some people who get in accidents and they never wake up. They out of here. You know what I'm saying? So in situations like an accident, right? Or let's say situations like some people have strokes, okay? Strokes can happen to people, you know? And what I will tell people is this. I'm going to give this advice and this tip to people. Sometimes, you know, in your life, you may not know that people in your life have had a stroke, okay? In my family, people have strokes. And something I've noticed, because my dad recently had a stroke. And one of the things that I want to share with some of you guys about the importance of taking care of your body, and also maybe even encouraging your family to take care of their bodies, is that you will know if somebody in your life had a stroke. And here's how you'll know. Because I was talking to some medical professionals about my father and everything. And this is what I was told. If somebody you will know somebody in your life had a stroke. Sometimes you don't even know. But one of the ways that you can tell that someone in your life had a stroke is it's not always looking at their external appearance. It's not always that. What happens is that there's things that you can look for to tell that they had a stroke. So one of the things you can look at is maybe not their face or their body or whatever. But look at some of the things that they cannot do that they used to be able to do. So one of the things that you can tell somebody had a stroke is look at how their personality is. If somebody had a stroke, you can tell if they did, because let's say they used to be someone who used to be nice, for example. All right. And then after they had, a stroke, it may be a slight, moderate or more severe stroke, depending on what it is, right? If someone has a stroke and let's say they had a nice personality, they're fun to be around or whatever, right? And then after they have a stroke, you will notice that this person becomes mean. They start being, criticizing, mad, cursing, doing things. They had a total personality shift, right? They're not who they used to be, personality-wise. And you don't recognize that in them. That's one of the things that tells you that they had a stroke. Now, there's the likelihood that people in your life could be hiding the fact that your loved one had a stroke. Another indication is that you could tell if your loved one had a stroke because let's say they were, they could be physically active, okay? Let's say that. And things. And after a stroke, you may notice that your loved one, with strokes, one thing that can happen with a stroke is your loved one could become paralyzed, okay? Or they could lose weakness in a part of their body. So if they used to be able to, let's say, be more active, let's say they worked out or whatever, they used to be able to lift a certain amount or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and things, and then after having a stroke, you notice that they can't lift, they can't carry stuff, they can't do that because wherever it is that they have the weakness, they more likely than not had a stroke on the opposite side of their brain. And that's what's contributing to them having weakness. Because most people should be able to lift and do different things. But when someone has a stroke, and then after, before they had a stroke, they didn't have any kind of paralysis or trouble with lifting or whatever, right? But after a stroke, you notice that they can't lift a certain amount. They can't carry something, right? You may have to carry some for them. There's a high chance that that person in your life, whether it be family, friends, or a coworker, whoever, they had a stroke. And other people probably know they had a stroke, but they just didn't tell you because they may be afraid of what you're going to think of this person having a stroke. And just because somebody has a stroke doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that they've suffered a traumatic brain injury that has impacted how they're going to interact. Okay? And the same could be true for somebody if, let's say, somebody that used to be mean and all that stuff like that, right? And then after a stroke, they become happy, right? And some people say that's fine, but that's not a natural part of their personality, right? And anything with a stroke, right? It's serious. It is serious because a stroke can really change people. People can be paralyzed. I had an auntie that she had strokes and she ended up being in a wheelchair. And, that's a tough thing. And the reason why I add this into the being happy video is this. Because sometimes people in our lives, sometimes unintentionally, they don't know that they're standing in the way of our happiness. Sometimes they don't know that. Sometimes, they don't know that the reason that they're trying to encroach on our lives or do things is because maybe they have a medical problem or an issue or a traumatic brain injury like a stroke. And that's an issue. One of the things I can tell you guys is that, it's important to take care of our bodies because if you were to have a stroke or someone had a stroke or whatever, how healthy your body is going to determine how likely that person is going to be to heal, to get back to their normal. If someone was abusing their body or whatever, they're going to have a hard time healing. If there's somebody who they've been around a high amount of stress, let's say they argue and fight people or whatever, right? And then they have a stroke, right? Their body's going to say, oh, well, this high amount of stress, I don't need to heal. Whatever, I'll just heal to the point that I want to be. right? So what I want to say to you guys is this about happiness. Happiness is a journey, number one. Happiness takes time to build up. Happiness is about discovering the things that make you happy. For some of us, we know those things. And for others of us, we don't know, right? And, and some of us are somewhere in between, right? It's okay to be happy. Allow yourself to be happy. Give yourself the chance to be happy. Do things that make you light up. Do things that make you laugh. Go to a movie that's funny. Go to a concert. Go and buy some new clothes or some new shoes or something. Give yourself things where you know what I'm saying, you work real hard. Give yourself something, where it makes you happy. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a watch or a ring or, maybe a new hairdo or whatever it is. Give yourself, a chance to be happy. Give yourself those things, you know what I'm saying, to take care of yourself. And as you're doing that, you're building self-love, right? Because as you're doing things on the inside that are happy, right? That happiness is going to radiate out, and it's going to attract more things that are going to make you happy, okay? And it's going to draw those things. Sometimes we are afraid to be happy because we can be worried about what other people are going to think of us. I'm one of those people, Sometimes I'm afraid about what people I know are going to think because, what are they going to think of me? But really, I've learned that, and I'm not done yet, but I'm learning that being happy starts with me. And it starts with what's on the inside of me, right? It starts from what makes me happy and allowing myself to do things that make me happy. And then as I do things that make me happy, yeah, I might get some pushback from people, but I have to keep going and stand up for myself and realize that I matter and I am of value. And if somebody in my life does not want to see me happy, maybe they don't need to be around me. Or maybe I only see them on holidays and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So, you can still have a relationship with someone and not be around them all the time. Sometimes you got to, because if somebody's stressing you out, they pissing you off, you every time they're around, they always cause you to feel bad, second guess yourself. They always putting you down. They're saying you can't make decisions when you already making decisions and you got yourself together and you doing what you know is right, but they still criticizing you. Sometimes, you gotta, one of the things you gotta stand for yourself, and you gotta say, hey, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy. And if you want to be around me, then there's going to have to be change. You're going to have to understand that my happiness matters to me. And if you're just here to criticize me, and you're here to try to do this and that to me and just make me feel bad, then I think it's a good time for me to kind of give you a chance to do what it is that you like to do, right? And sometimes this is hard to do that with family or friends or a coworker or whatever. But you got to stand up for yourself. I learned that at work recently, that I have to stand up for myself. And I have to, say, hey, I don't tolerate this shit, and I'm not going to tolerate this, and you're not going to keep doing what you're doing. Right? I said it in front of everybody. Right? And I said, I'm not letting you keep doing what you're doing. This is going to stop right here. And sometimes you got to stand up to people. And let's say you don't feel comfortable standing up to somebody. Well, just don't be around that person. Just give that person a chance to work on things. And sometimes, and I'm going to say this, and this is going to be my last point about happiness. Sometimes people in our lives don't want to see us happy because maybe there's something they've always wanted to do and they never got to do that thing, whatever it is. Sometimes people want to make us feel bad in our lives when they see we're happy. They do that because they have some shadow work or inner work that they got to do. They have some insecurities that they got to work on. But see, instead of working on what's internal to them and working on their own happiness, What they do is they go and they try to control us. They try to tell us what a nothing we are. They tell us, well, I know what's best, or, as a family, we know what's best, or whatever and stuff. But what about them being there to support you? And this could be, family, friends, acquaintances, partners, whatever. The thing of it is that what really drains our health is not being happy. And another thing that does it is the environment that we are around. Sometimes being in a certain environment and having people that's draining us stops us from being happy. And that can cause us to second guess, be depressed, be stressed out and everything. And that's not good for us, because the more stressed, depressed, everything else we are, even angry, that starts to take a toll on our physical body. And when you have this high amount of negativity, then you're going to start to have health issues. You might be young right now and you may not see it. Or some people are starting to, even if they're younger, they're starting to experience problems. And it's related to stress. Some people, if they have too much stress, they can run the risk of having a stroke. There are people in their 20s and 30s and 40s and stuff that have strokes. Sometimes there's teenagers that have strokes because of an environment or something going on. Stress is also something that can cause heart disease. It can cause cancer, right? It can cause, all different types of things. Serious health conditions. You know what I'm saying? So your environment and where you are around is going to have a big bearing. It's going to have a big bearing on your happiness. If a place is not making you happy, you have the right to get out of that place and go to a place where you can feel happy. You have a right to do that. You don't have to stay stuck in a place because somebody else wants you to do that. What you need is to make yourself happy. Yes, it's going to mean you're going to have to say no. Yes, it's going to mean you might feel uncomfortable with it, but you have to do what makes you feel happy at the core of it. You got to, because when you start doing what makes you happy, it's going to piss people off. People close to you and people that are not close to you. But you got to do what's right for you because you want to feel happy, right? You want to feel happy because if that's who you are on the inside and you want to radiate that on the outside, and you want to have a better quality of life, and you want to be happy about the things you achieve and do and everything, then it starts from the inside. And all of us deserve to be happy. All of us should be valued, loved, cared, supported. And one of the things that hurts us the most can be if someone in our lives is hurting us and we love them. We love them. We've known them for years of our lives. Sometimes it could be our parents. Sometimes it can be our siblings. Sometimes it can be aunts or uncles or grandparents. Sometimes it could be friends. Sometimes it could be coworkers, right? It can be a lot of different things that can, people that can impact us. Maybe even strangers, The thing is about being happy is why we want to be happy is because we want to have the best quality of life we can. We want to do the things that make us happy, achieve our dreams. Because once our life is over and we're looking back and we're reviewing our life, we want to be able to see experiences of things that made us happy and feel like, you know what? I've lived a good life. I've lived a good life. I got a chance to do this. Maybe it started off rough, or maybe at some point it got rough. But you know what? I'm glad I started being happy, because it's about at the end of it. Can you look back and say, not say you lived a good life, because I'm not saying anybody's lived a good life, but I'll say you can look back and say, I always wanted to do this and I finally got to do it. For some people, it might be, I've always wanted to travel around the world. And, I was finally able to do it. For some people, I've always wanted to, save up $1 million. And I was finally able to do it. And then I was able to use that money to not have to work for the next 5 or 10 years. You know, for other people, it might be they, you know, saved up money and maybe they've always wanted to own their own business and they were able to do it and have a successful business. And as a result of having a successful business, maybe they were able to have, you know, enjoy more things in life that they weren't able to enjoy previously. You know, there's a lot of things a lot of us want to do. But the thing of it is, that's about being happy is about being able to be comfortable with yourself, be comfortable with your environment, being happy and being proud of yourself, having that self-love is important too. You know, it's okay to feel happy. And that's something I'm learning. It's okay to feel happy. It's completely okay. You know, it's all right. It may feel a little weird at first, but it's okay to feel happy. You know, some people going to try to take that away from you. But what you got to do is you got to say, hey, I'm happy. If you're going to come up against me and you going to try to take away my happiness, it ain't happening. You know, and it could be hard if you have to tell that to, you know, people that you're really close knit to. Okay? So, but even if you tell people that you're close knit to that, you know, you say no to them and you can't do something for them this time, doesn't mean that you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means that you're putting your happiness as a priority first. And then, you know, there'll be another occasion where you can help out this person or that person. There will be, you know. I think where we hurt ourselves the most is when we overextend ourselves and we please other people, but we forget about ourselves and we forget about the fact that we deserve to be happy. That's where we really hurt ourselves. But the good thing is with happiness, you can start today by being happy. You can. You can start right now. You can go outside, go for a walk, meditate, go for a run, go to a movie, go to a restaurant, watch a TV show or YouTube video or whatever it is you want to watch, you know, work out, whatever it is you want to do, anything you want to do that makes you happy, you can do it right now. If you can't do that right now, maybe you may have to get supplies in order to become happy. Some people, what makes them happy is building stuff. Sometimes it's working on a car. Sometimes it's going to be, you know, going to an exercise class or, you know, learning how to cook or whatever. It could be anything. The important thing, guys, is you can start being happy. It's about allowing yourself to be happy. When you are happy, being comfortable being happy. And then, you know, it's not like nothing's going to impact that happiness, but the thing of it is that being happy most of the time is good for you because it keeps your body healthy, keeps you strong and stuff like that. When you're in a positive state of mind, you have ideas to do stuff. Who knows? You could invent something and then sell that invention and you could be a millionaire. You never know. You know, and all because you started the little seed of being happy on the inside of yourself and it started to grow. And then eventually it radiated out and then it made, you know, it helped you. Now you do have to have an environment that's going to nurture your happiness. You definitely have to do that. You do have to surround yourself with people and situations and things that are going to be good. Because that's how that's going to help, you know. So don't give up on being happy. You can do it. You can be happy. You just have to work towards doing it. And yes, you're going to get pushed back. You're going to get people that's going to be mad at you or whatever. But they're not going to be mad forever. They ain't going to be too mad. In fact, when you stand up to somebody, you earn respect from them. You let them know, hey, I love you, but you know, you have to understand this is important to me. And if you're not willing to support something that's important to me, then, you know, maybe I'll give us some time between us, maybe a day or a week or something like that, and, you know, just kind of give you some time to chill. And if you continue to come to me with negativity, then, you know, we probably only going to be able to see each other on holidays. Or maybe once a year. You know? So, it really depends, but let happiness start with you. Let happiness grow from the inside out from you. And you will start to see that life looks better. You know, things are better for you. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful. And, you know, guys, stay happy. And if you're not happy right now, you can start. Remember, The happiness comes from the inside of you. That's where it starts.